Hello trainers, Ganeto here, and today we're diving together into Go Battle League, but in general, because I want to talk with you about some ideas that I have for the new season, and perhaps Niantic can implement some of those ideas into the PvP aspect of the game, and we can have a fun game once again. So starting off with the move reworks, because the wing attack was a big hit in the meta, positive in my opinion. We had a lot of new Pokemon coming up, and then the next season, this season, which is the end of right now for the Go Battle League, we're having no change at all, and people are bored, which makes a lot of sense. So trying to see some new things coming up into the game, we can start off with the moves. Of course, we're gonna have on my top list priority here the Rock Smash rework. A lot of Pokemon can learn Rock Smash, the Regis, the Poliwrath, the Azumarill. This can be a game changer for a lot of those Pokemon. Of course, Azumarill, you might think it is gonna be broken, but it will not, because it is still gonna be viable with Bubble, and Rock Smash will not be at all a move that can take stab, same type attack bonus, so you can play around it as well. So it will give a whole new play to Azumarill, and of course Rock Smash can be learned by a lot of Pokemon, so why not give it some play? I recommend going with a Spark clone, because this can help Rock Smash become meta, not instant meta, but instead will give a lot of Pokemon some options on the special caps. And because of the Rock Smash rework and obviously buff, we might want to have something like a counter nerf, because counter whatever Pokemon is gonna learn this move, obviously it's gonna be a meta relevant one. So you can see as to how we want to have a lesser version of counter in the meta. It is still gonna be pretty good, don't take my word for it, but you can see it on your own. Counter is an OP move right now, and whatever Pokemon is gonna learn it can absolutely go to town. With the counter getting nerfed in a hypothetical scenario, of course, and the Rock Smash getting the buff, perhaps we want to see new steel Pokemon coming up into the rankings for Go Battle League. So a new steel move might be just what we need, because a Metal Claw rework can work, of course, towards our asset, but a new steel might just do the trick here, because the best move on the steel type option is gonna be the Bullet Punch, and besides Metagross I cannot see another Pokemon using it, perhaps Scizor, but it's considered being a spicy one. So if you want to avoid that Bullet Punch being vamped up, or the Metaclaw that a lot of Pokemon can learn, by the way, even the Dialga and the Excadrill, this can give a whole new diversity on their movesets, you might want to go with something new. So experiment, Niantic, you can do it, I believe in you, and of course you have all the potential on your tables. So moving on, we have the dragons with the new moves, because dragons, if you didn't know from the main game series, they can learn a lot of stuff. So going into the meta with a dragon type always feel like you're getting RPS out there, so any dragon can learn a lot of moves, starting off with Altaria. I remember from the Emerald games when I was having a steel type like Magneton going into that flying gym. I think you remember, not Pacifilog, something green in the forest. So Altaria could learn the move Earthquake, and the first time that it hit me with the Earthquake on my steel type, I was like, oh my goodness, I just lost. So why not give a move like Earthquake to Altaria? It will give it a lot of play against steel types, it will still lose to the steel types, which is pretty meta relevant, and of course it will help it a lot with coverage. So why not Altaria? It is still gonna struggle against the ice types, just gonna give it a way to go out of that steel typing matchup, and of course the Bastiodon, which is gonna be devastating. Why we need to play RPS Pokemon all the time? Moving forward to the Dragon list, we meet up with Garchomp, which can also learn Poison Jab and Stone Edge. Those two moves are gonna give it coverage against the Fairy types, hence Togekiss on the Master League meta. So I can see Garchomp work here as a heavy pressurer for the entire meta, and of course against Zacian with those Poison Jabs instead of getting walled down. You can see as to how Stone Edge can help it against the Ice type Pokemon, which is also gonna be great for the meta, pretty healthy, not a game changer or whatever, just the cards I'm gonna get some nice coverage for certain Pokemon. Kingdra now with the Flash Cannon, I believe that this Pokemon has a lot of potential in Pokemon as a franchise, so having it here with Flash Cannon might give it a little bit of an edge against the fairy types, which are just gonna dominate those dragons. And of course you might want to play it with Waterfall, which is already in the moveset of Kingdra, so you can see as to how you can take advantage of Kingdra much better with the Flash Cannon on the Ultra League meta most of the times, and perhaps on the Great League as well. Finally, with the dragons, Reshiram can learn Shadow Claw, which will give it a lot of play, and it's gonna be, I believe, the only dragon type Pokemon with Shadow Claw. This move is pretty amazing, much like the counter, but of course it's gonna be Ghost type, no fast attack, same type attack bonus for the Reshiram, but still it's gonna give it quite the energy that it needs to get it there, and we're gonna get away from that weird thing which every dragon has to learn Dragon Tail or Dragon Breath. So here comes the Shadow Claw for the Reshiram to shake things apart. And the list goes on with the dragons. Dragons can learn pretty much anything, and it will not be a groundbreaking move from Niantic side. You are still seeing a lot of those psychic types in the meta, like Hypno, like Mew, like Mewtwo, that can go pretty rough against their opponents, and of course they can take so much damage. They are not instant meta, but still pretty good with their moves. So this healthy behavior from those Pokemon will only help Go Battle League, so not only vamp up things that make no sense at all like the Whimsicott or whatever, but instead dragons can be made great again, so why not focus on those. Now let's talk a little bit about Go Battle League and not about the moves, because it is time, I believe, to improve from trainer battles into Go Stadium battles. We're gonna have a lot more fun, the total layout is gonna change, the way we are behaving around the game, it is gonna change. Everything is about the style, and I believe that upgrading to the Go Stadium format is gonna help a lot. So this is always like a visual thing. Perhaps we're gonna get more lag about it, but of course we're talking about a hypothetical scenario that Niantic is gonna have full servers, and of course we're not gonna lag at all. So the next thing about Go Battle League is that we want to have more play. What I mean by this, we need something new, a new mechanic into the game. We have the shields, we have the moves, we have some weird strategies with the switches and stuff like that. So switches can always be 30 seconds or 45 seconds on the cooldown instead of a whole minute. That can help a lot of walls coming out of that weird matchup, especially in Altaria against Basildon, for example. You can manipulate this matchup a little bit so that you can get the chance to switch out a little bit faster. That can help everyone. So closing that part about Go Battle League, also we might want to have something like 2 fast attacks into the game. So listen to me about that, how this is gonna work. So you're having your screen, right? Yeah. So the half left is gonna be about, when you're tapping it, is gonna be about your first fast attack, and the second half right is gonna be about your second fast attack. So in total you're gonna have 2 fast attacks and 2 charge attacks. How this is gonna unfold? Well, it might need a little bit of strategy, a little bit of more planning from Niantic side to implement to the game, but I can already see it happening, and of course it will give coverage with Pokemon that you have never thought about. So having an Azumarill, for example, with the Rock Smash being reward, I'm just crossing my fingers here, and of course Bubble will give it a lot of coverage, having 2 fast attack on that Pokemon that can work on any different scenario. Starting off with one, perhaps it will give you a cooldown before you use the second one, about 10 seconds, who knows. So local tournaments now with the X-rated gyms. Those EX raid gyms are gonna be pretty much nothing right now. They are used about elite raids, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the elite raids. So talking about the X raids, they can also host local tournaments. You can register there, go into that gym by walking. Okay, it's not that hard, into your town. Sign up for a local tournament that is gonna go with once per month, once per week, per 2 weeks. It's all up to Niantic, so that the community can gather like Sylph did back with those tournaments when Sylph was alive. Oh my goodness, that was pretty rough to say, just realized it. And you can have the local tournament that the whole community can participate in. So about the raids now, speaking of EX raids, about the raids in total, I believe that it is the correct way to introduce new moves, especially unique moves, because elite TMs will get more value. What I mean by this, you might have a reason to hunt lower star raids, for example something like a Vileplume. You might want to sit into this game with a weird grass move, for example. So introducing that rotation with the raids, and of course once per rotation we're gonna have a level 3 star raid with a unique move, something like a grass move, like I said for the Vileplume. This is gonna give a lot of play on the communities to hunt those lower star raids, because to my experience having those level 3 raids help no one is doing them anyways. Even the 1 star are kinda weird, but I can see some people going for that shiny chance, but the level 3 not so much. So introducing new moves through that raid system can always help the community in total, and of course will give more play to Niantic side with those more raids on the lower star ones. So we do not need in total to have one move update every 3 months, but instead every raid rotation. This can be every 2 weeks for example, or every month, but I prefer the 2 or 3 weeks to be honest. Introducing new moves every single time that a single rotation the raids is coming up, and this can not only be on the raids but also it can be on the community days like it already is, and perhaps a new move for community day classics. For example, take the Metagross. Metagross can learn a variety of moves. Why not having the community day classic, which is gonna come back in a while, I'm pretty sure about it, and of course not gonna bring it with Meteor Mass, with a new move, with a new steel move that we were talking about with at the earlier times of this video. Why not introduce it with Meteor Mass and a new steel fast attack? If people do not like it, they can simply TM it away. So you have nothing to lose, and of course you are not gonna go for that every 3 months rotation with the seasons. Just go with the 2 weeks, with 1 month, 3 weeks. I prefer the 3 weeks to be honest. 2 weeks is too early, 4 weeks is too much, but 3 weeks is absolutely perfect to get a single new move or 2 moves into the game to shake around the meta, and Niantic can also help with constant rebalancing the game throughout that way. So that's gonna be all for today, and I believe that we're having a lot of good points. My personal favorite is gonna be the first one that we talked about in the video, the Rock Smash rework that can work like a spark clone, so you can see how this is gonna shake around the meta. And obviously with the wing attack being pretty strong, I do not recommend doing anything weird on that move. Is absolutely perfect right now, and with the counter getting nerfed, come on Ganeto, you just said it, we might see a rise on the steel types, which is gonna mean a new move coming into the game, or even a Metal Claw rework like we have just said. So that is gonna be all, and now I'm gonna announce the winners for that community day ticket. Here you are, trainers. So with that said, feel free to contact with me below this video or even on the Discord, so that I can add you through your ID on my friends list, and then I can gift you that community day ticket. Have fun everyone on the Fennekin community day, and I hope to see you all into the next one. Thank you for watching, trainers. Just be sure to leave a huge like before you go, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and if you want to support even more, well, joining as a member can always help with that matter. Thank you once again, and I hope to see you all into the next one. Take care, trainers.